What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another episode of Bleeding B&G. Quick episode today, just recapping day 6 of training camp for the Commanders 2025. But before I get too deep into this video, you already know what I'm going to say. Be sure to comment, be sure to like, be sure to subscribe. On the road to 3,000 subscribers, and I can't do it without your help. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification button, hit that bell so you're not missing any of this Commanders content for Bleeding B&G, where we give you the most raw, uncut, and unfiltered analysis on your Washington Commanders. And without further ado, man, let's get into today's video. So your boy wasn't boots on the ground like I've been the last 2 days at training camp. I didn't get tickets because I had a work matter to handle today. But to be quite honest, I don't even know if I would have been out in Ashburn today if I did have tickets, if somebody was to gift me tickets, because after 2 days at training camp, I'm here to announce that I'm on IR right now. I don't know if it's going to be short-term or long-term. I might be in jeopardy of missing the season because it was hot as hell out there the last 2 days. Like, I'm suffering from heat exhaustion from Sunday, and it's Tuesday afternoon. I don't know how I ever played football in my life. Now, I know that was many pounds ago, and I know I was much more in shape, but I don't know how I ever did this shit. I want to go back and fight my parents for signing me up for that shit back in the day. So, no, I love the game. I love football. I love the Washington Commanders, and it brought me to be doing what I'm doing now. But enough about me, man. Let's get into what happened today in Ashburn. So, we always start with Dan Quinn's pre-practice press conference, and he actually announced that offensive lineman, specifically offensive guard Nate Herbig, is being put on the reserved retired list, so he will be retiring. This was a guy that we signed this offseason from his time with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I'm not necessarily surprised because this is a back half of the roster type guy. He was more of a depth signing along the offensive line. But I will say that I had hopes of Nate Herbig potentially filling in for Sam Cosmi prior to the reports of Sam Cosmi being potentially ready for week 1. I thought that Nate Herbig had all the potential to be a guy that, supersedes Nick Allegretti and Andrew Wiley on the depth chart with, at the right guard position. But, I believe he had all the talent, but he's coming off of a torn rotator cuff, and this is a young man's game. Trust me, I know. This is a young man's game. So he was going into year 7, I believe, and he just seems as if like he doesn't have it for football anymore. And we get a lot of these during this time because training camp is brutal. Like I just said, I didn't even want to make this segue, but I was ready to retire and I was just out there spectating. And I had a seat the first day in Ashburn. These guys out there on their feet, day 6. So it's the dog days of the summer for sure. And Nate Herbig, he had enough of that for sure. So well wishes to you, salutations, and good luck in the future. I hope you have greener pastures and whatever you want to go do in the future. I think this is a guy that's from Stanford, so we might see him become the next, pro football doctor, diagnosing concussions and brain injuries and things of that nature. Shout out to Nate Herbig, man. Let's see what else Dan Quinn had to say. Guys catching. So they went straight to the on-field work. So I guess Dan Quinn didn't have much to say in his practice press conference other than announcing the news of Nate Herbig retiring because nobody else mentioned anything. So straight to the on-field work. Shout out to Zach Silby. He said guys catching punts today. Jalen Lane, KJ Osborne, Casimir Allen, and Demetric Felton. Those are the same guys that were out there when I was watching as well. I think that Jalen Lane has a lead in that fight if it is a competition. I think he's the most natural catcher at the punt returner position. He's a guy that explodes at the catch point when he catches the ball. Catching punts look natural to him. And I said it a couple of days ago, he's our most explosive athlete on the team by far. So you want to find as many ways to get the ball in his hands as possible, and punt returns is the perfect way to do it. Those are some of the biggest plays that he made in college during his time at Middle Tennessee and Virginia Tech. No pads on for today's session, so my observations will be more scheme-related. Linnell Winderham. So they took a day off of pads. I believe they were just, helmets only. After being out there in pads for back-to-back days, I'm excited that I was able to go see them in pads, to see that level of physicality, to see the defensive line shine like they did the last couple of days. So let's see if the offense was able to bounce back, because as I reported the last couple of days, I do think that the defense won both of the days that I was out there, even though we did get a lot of flashes from the golden boy number 5, because that's just what Jaden Daniels is going to do. But I do think the defense won the last 2 days. Let's see what they say today. 2 days in a row with Sam Hartman downfield dart. This one to Debo on a crosser. Debo gets 1 or 2 chunk plays, receptions each practice. Absolutely. Absolutely. And Ben Standing isn't lying about that. And Debo actually had another deep pass that was just outside of his reach on Sunday when we were out there, and it wasn't of his fault by any means. He beat press coverage. He was coming out of the slot, so that would have just been an addition to the highlight reel that Deebo Samuel has had over the course of the first 6 practice sessions for Commanders training camp. And I'm super excited about the signing. I was trying to be modest and be as realistic as possible where Debo was concerned, where when we signed him in the offseason, because Debo is a big name. This is a guy that's played in a lot of big games. A lot of people know Debo. And I was just being cautious that, we weren't getting damaged goods. And it seems like we might not be. This is a guy that's rejuvenated. I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, I said we haven't seen a Debo Samuel workout video in 3 years. Now we get one every day. And we see that those workout videos that we were seeing the last couple of weeks are translating into camp. I saw it with my 2 eyes. Debo Samuel is a special player. Not your traditional wide receiver. But the fact that he's winning as a traditional wide receiver at this point in camp, just imagine how the offense is going to take off when Cliff starts scheming up touches for him, and he becomes that gadget guy in the offense. Really contested catch, really nice contested catch by Chris Moore. The vet continues to look solid in cap. Yeah, Chris Moore had a day yesterday. He seemed like the most consistent wide receiver running with the ones during the 11-on-11 team session. I don't know how much of a positive that is, because Chris Moore is a 32-year-old journeyman wide receiver. But to see that he's rising up to the occasion in training camp, I can't do nothing but tip my hat off to Chris Moore. But I say all this to say, pay 17. Pay 17. No, don't give him that blank check, but pay that man. Pay that man something. Bring 17 back. I'm missing Terry. A lot of deep passes today. Cornerbacks doing a good job of providing coverage and preventing explosive plays, like they've been doing the last couple of days. I told you. I'm going to say it again. Washington Commanders cornerback group. Marshon Lattimore, Trey Amos, and Mikey Sarenstill. Pending injury. If all guys are able to play a full season healthy, top 5 cornerback group in the NFL. And I know we played a gauntlet of wide receivers and quarterbacks this year. I know we do. I checked the schedule. That's not going to back me off of what I'm thinking, what I'm seeing with my own eyes. You hear Marshon Lattimore talk about how healthy he's been. Marcus Mariota to Jaden Daniels for the touchdown. Guys having fun, because I told you it's all good vibes in the Dan Quinn practice. Frankie Louvu at work. So it looked like he was working with the linebackers today. He worked with the linebackers my couple of days out there, but it was mentioned by a couple of people that he was almost working exclusively with the defensive ends and the edge rushers in the first 3-day training camp session. And I love to hear that, because while Frankie Louvu was a hellified blitzer, when he was just asked to run, to turn the corner and run the edge last year as a pass rusher, he struggled in that. So I'm glad that that was something that, Joe Witt, Dan Quinn saw as well, and just wanted him to work on it, because we know he's going to put the work in. But that's a Samoan warrior mentality. Sam Cosmi was back on the field. He hadn't been out there in practice when I was out there, but he's back on the field as well. Not practicing, but seeing him walk without a limp, like he didn't suffer an ACL injury 6 months ago, is something to marvel at. He's an athletic freak for sure. Josh Carnley at work, working with Laramie Tunsil. So the sensei and the protege, I love it. The young rookie and the vet. Didn't they say Laramie Tunsil was a bad locker room guy? Isn't that what they said? Out here working with his young guy. I love it, giving him pointers. You see him watching intently, too. You see he's not just watching to watch it. He's watching so he can tell Josh Carnley what Josh Carnley can work on. I love it. before practice. They getting work in before practice. I love it. Chris Moore is having himself a fucking day. Chris Moore with a circus catch over Jonathan Jones all over him. Pass interference clearly. It was offside, so Harpin took a shot. Chris Moore, have yourself a day, my boy. Zach Selby talking about that catch as well. Deebo Samuel makes a diving catch on a deep pass from Daniels. Drew a lot of cheers from the crowd. I told you, Deebo Samuel might be the training camp MVP right now. Nah, we got Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels, Mikey Sainristil, and Deebo Samuel are my three biggest standouts from camp so far, with Trey Amos coming in a close honorable mention. Deebo Samuel's having himself a day. And I said it last week in the group chat. Y'all know, shout out to my guys, Rio Robinson, Tay and Ty, Alex, Zach. I said it in the group chat. I said over under 1.5 weeks before we get Deebo saying that Jaden Daniels is much better than Brock Purdy. So we about a week in. And I said under, so my bet not looking as good. We got about 2 more sessions to get it done. I'm going to need you to hit him with a couple more deep balls. Pause, Jaden. Pause, Jaden. Whoa, that was crazy. But you see, Deebo Samuel's clearly invigorated and clearly out to prove people wrong. You see that he's heard all the naysayers. If you watch any of his workout edits, he drops bits from people doubting him in every single one of those. So he's definitely listening to the doubters. Marshon Lattimore working with this Mikey Sainristil. And this is what I loved, and this is what I think a lot of people haven't really talked about as far as Washington's offseason approach. Everybody want to talk about how we had the unction and all of that. But we've gotten guys, elite, proven veterans, or guys that were once elite that are still very good football players, and we paired them with our guys that are elite talents, right? So, like Marcus Mariota, he never lived up to his second overall pick that he had coming out of the 2015 draft, right? But Marcus Mariota has made a Pro Bowl, right? You pair him with Jaden Daniels. Marshon Lattimore, he's only 29. Y'all calling him Unc, though. You pair him with a guy like Mikey Sainristil. Von Miller, we don't have any, like, certified young guys right now at the edge rusher position, but you get Javonte Jean-Baptiste in the room. You get Dietrich Wise in the room with Von Miller. And Dietrich Wise is 30 years old, right? But he's more of a run-stuffing defensive end. You think him being in the room with Von Miller, he not going to learn a couple of pass rushing tips? You think Frankie Louvu not going to learn a couple of pass rushing tips from Von Miller? So this is why I love Adam Peters' approach at the offseason in year 2 of, his regime. Kane Medrano picks off Sam Hartman. Sam's had a good day until then. I told y'all, Kane Medrano flies around, and he's looking like he's getting more and more under control by the day. One thing I noticed my first day out there was he was probably the fastest defender out there, DBs, safeties included. Sideline to sideline speed is real. But he was making mistakes. He was overrunning a couple of plays and things of that nature. But even on Monday, I saw him, he damn near took Austin Eckler's head off. And Austin Eckler wasn't happy about it. But I love to see it because Kane was flying around and making plays and showing no regard for human life. And that's what I want out of my linebackers, especially if you're going to be wearing 56. And to see that he's putting it together, stacking days and getting better and more aware day by day is a beautiful thing to see. Dorrance Armstrong tick ball ends rough team period for the offense. So is the defense really about to win 3 days in a row? JP and B Mitch, shout out to the guys. Marshon Lattimore. Let's see. Marshon Lattimore had an interview, a walk-off interview after practice with Scott Abraham.
Longest practice of the training camp so far. Tell me how it's going.
It's going good. I like how the defense looking. I like how the young guys looking. But everything coming together right now. We just got to stack the days.
Marshon, you look healthy out there. Do you feel healthy?
Of course. I told you all from the beginning, in minicamp, I feel good. I feel like myself. And I only can get better from right now.
So we're not going to listen to too much because I do want to keep this video monetized and don't want to have what's Scott working? WJLA 7 News at my head tops. But just to hear Marshon say, yeah, I feel good. I feel healthy. I feel 100%. It looks like he found that that hamstring that he left on Bourbon Street. It looks like Marshon Lattimore found that hamstring that he left on Bourbon Street. And I said it a couple of days ago, and I'll say it again now. The reason that I'm holding Marshon Lattimore to such high regards is because at their peaks, outside of maybe Bobby Wagner and Von Miller, Marshon Lattimore is the most established player on this roster. And he's still young enough. He's younger than Terry McLaurin, right? He's younger than Terry McLaurin. And in my opinion, he's still young enough where he can capture some of that past glory that had him making all pros, that have him making Pro Bowls. And in my honest opinion, Marshon Lattimore, the play of Marshon Lattimore is going to be the pendulum for the entire team this season. If Marshon Lattimore plays well, we're Super Bowl contenders. If Marshon Lattimore looks like the Marshon Lattimore that was damaged goods at the end of last season, in the second half of the season, we might be worse than the Giants. I think that his impact is that real. No, we ain't gonna be worse than the Giants. They ass and we got the Golden Boy. Damn, Scott interviewing all the DBs. Let's see what Trey Amos had to say.
Adjustment for you from college to the pros. What's the speed been like just from the college game?
Look at him. Look at the aura.
I feel like
Two sleeve swag. Like it ain't 1,005 degrees outside.
You know, everybody's different. Everybody have a different type of.
I feel like they let Trey Amos control the aux at practice too.
For me, I feel like.
Hella, I bet you won't. I bet you were hella down south, young Y and shit. Hello, young boy. Hello, YB.
That's what I've been doing.
Then they played that crank that, right? And they was like, nah, that couldn't have been Trey Amos. I'm like, don't sleep on Brad. Don't sleep on Brad. Brad definitely be listening to that crank that. You seen the way he was dancing at minicamp. So there weren't many guys reporting about practice. Josh Connolly spoke as well. So I think that'll do it for this video. I actually saw one. Let me see if I can find it really quickly for you. Let me see if I can find it really quickly for you. I saw one tweet. It must not be from somebody that I follow. Oops, my bad. From somebody that said Jacory Croskey-Merritt was running with Daniels. Let's see if I can find it. So y'all know that I ain't capping. Yeah, Jacory Croskey-Merritt getting reps with Jaden Daniels and the ones in the no huddle session. Whoa. I told y'all JCM Bill had a hell of a practice yesterday. Delivering blows, cutting back on guys. He was the only guy that could find any run room yesterday out of all the running backs. So that's not a knock to Brian. That's not a knock to Austin Eckler or Chris Rodriguez Jr., but Jacory Croskey-Merritt, I don't even want to say burst, but he just moves different than everybody else out there, right? And I'm intrigued to hear that this was in the no huddle session, right? Because that's where you want your scat backs. That's where you want as many playmakers in space to go against those tired defenses as well. So I'm not gonna put Brian Robinson on high alert just yet. I told you, I almost did a 180 and considered drafting him for my fantasy team a couple of days ago. He was getting so many reps with the goddamn ones. But it seems as if Jacory Croskey-Merritt's stock has continued to rise and it's at an all-time high over the last couple of days because it seems as if Cliff Kingsbury, Dan Quinn saw what I saw yesterday, that Jacory Croskey-Merritt had himself a hell of a practice, and they rewarded him with some reps with the starting quarterback and the starting offense today. So that'll do it for this video, man. Exciting times in Washington. They'll have tomorrow off, but we have no days off. I plan on having a video, just a little training camp check-in with a special guest. So make sure you tapped into the page. Make sure you tapped into the channel. If you're not following us on social media, I don't know what you're doing. We cut up over there, get all the instant reaction and analysis to everything Commanders. And, yeah, I'll check in on y'all on the flip side.